Across the globe we're shining bright, telling stories that feel so right. From every culture, every place, we're building love, we're sharing grace. Oh, we see the beauty in every soul. Together we're stronger, making us whole. Legacy lives in all that we do. Mogul TV, it starts with you. Mogul TV, we're changing the game. One voice, one heart, one name. Streaming hope, shining through. A better world for me and you. Mogul TV, where we belong. Our stories live, our hearts stay strong. Mogul TV, we're changing the game. One voice, one heart, one name. 52 countries, love on display. Breaking boundaries every day. Feel the rhythm.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Meet the Moguls. I am Tameka Chapman, founder of Mogul TV Global Network. And tonight, listen, last week was amazing conversation I had with Denise Sutton, who is the host of This Is My Testimony, coming to Mogul TV Global Network fall. Here, matter of fact, at the end of this month. So the fall season is going to be lit. Tonight, I am bringing another amazing host who has been a part of Mogul TV since oh my gosh, what 4 or 5 years now. So almost at the beginning, y'all. You know how you say those day ones? Okay. So help me welcome Gerod Ware joining us. Hi Gerard, how are you?
What is up, Miss Mika? How you doing, ma'am?
I am doing well. How are you?
Ain't no complaining on my end,
Awesome,
I'm
awesome.
good.
So listen, everybody. Gerard Ware is the host of the Floor is Yours podcast. I'm not going to go all the way into a whole discussion, the intro, description, and everything because we're going to get to know him along the way in our conversation. But before we get started, Gerard, tell the people a little bit about the Floor is Yours as we know today. What is it that the Floor is Yours podcast is doing today?
Yeah, so a couple things. Again, welcome, audience, and Tamika, thank you for all your support. People say this all the time that I can't do this without you. Like, I mean that. That is no exaggeration and no hyperbole. I appreciate everything that you are, your motivation, your wisdom, and all that. But Floor is Yours podcast. We are what we consider a grassroots organization and created with a purpose. And just real quick, if I can have the floor just for a few moments, I won't get long winded. But coming out of the Army, I remember I was doing work in equal opportunity space, which is kind of like the civilian equivalent of DEI. And I remember wanting an opportunity or a vehicle, if you will, to continue my work. How does that transfer from the military sector to civilian life, right? And I went and good friends introduced me to a local TV station here in Dallas. And I met a couple of the on-air personalities, and I pitched to them what I wanted to talk about, community issues, social issues, bettering my community. And all they wanted to talk about was my military service, which is important. I don't want to thumb my nose at that. But it made me realize, like, I need my own platform, and I want to be able to tell my story how I needed to. And if I felt that way, Tamika, I know other people felt the same way. And, one of the worst, dehumanizing, breathtaking things you can do is take someone's voice away. So
Mm-hmm.
that made me think of, like, what is this name? The Floor is Yours podcast reflects that right there. So it's not just hearing me talk. I want to make sure I create a platform that gives a voice to my community, my loved one, my friends, anyone with similar um, passions, desires, and convictions. Like, you can come here and we're going to have a conversation about it. You're going to be heard and you're going to be respected. But that's kind of the story of the Floor is Yours podcast, how it came about, and what our mission looks like.
I love that. And you speak about community. A lot of times you hear so many people talk about community, but they're really not about community. They're really about having their name out there in the bright lights. But you are really and truly about community. I remember when I first met you, you were talking about the things that you were doing in the neighborhood, the conversations you're having with the guys, the barbershop conversations,
Remember
people
that?
you coming in contact with, networking with people. And I love that because a lot of times we are not sure on how to navigate these paths. And one of the questions, I asked you probably a few weeks ago was community, on building community, and what did that look like? What could that look like for others? And so I really want to talk about that community building because
Yeah.
I believe that the floor is yours is that community bridge. It is a bridge from those who need the information to those who have the information. And so you are bringing both worlds together to really empower the youth, the parents, the grandparents, business
Yeah.
owners, as well as organizations, not just local, but, all around the region as well.
Yeah.
Um, so with that, let's talk about community building. I want to hit on that before we move forward. Like the importance of being a resource, the importance of building, the importance of being true to what community looks like. Can we talk about that for a moment?
Absolutely. And I love the way how you framed part of that question is you said, what does it look like? And I'll be lying to you if I told you like I always know what it looks like. And I say it because we're many, right? It's a lot of people with a lot of passions and shortcomings and fears and desires. So when you out there, it's like it's a community where you want everybody to be heard, to feel needed, to feel important. So no one issue necessarily trumps another one. There might be prioritizing it at that moment, but you got competing traumas, competing convictions, competing just desires, and for me, it's like figuring out where's the need and where do I fit in. So I like also that you said to me is just being that bridge. There's a ton of mentoring programs out there. There's a
Mhm.
ton of financial health and mental health specialists out there, but there's also a ton of people that need the financial assistance and the mental
Right.
health assistance and people that need some mentoring. But the disconnect was crazy is that how did they find each other? And so I found a space there is building relationship with these people. So it was a huge effort on networking and just being a consistent, stable presence in the community. And
Hmm.
sometimes that old saying to me, because like you got to have skins on the wall. I did. I had to put the work in. I don't want
Right.
people just to come and say, "Oh, because you're in the army, or because you're a black man, or because you can speak, or whatever." I don't want that to be it. I want my credibility to know that I truly care, and I've been through it. And sometimes it comes with some transparency, right? Telling my story. All those days where I was wondering where my next meal is going to come from, or
Hmm.
my bank account is overdrafted. Hundreds of dollars, and I got another week until payday. It was looking at my daughter and wondering like, how am I going to feed her tonight? All these things that people go through, and it allowed me to come to people not from a point of judgment, but a point of genuine care. And sometimes we can't take it for granted. It seems so simple that people should know. Like we got to be able to meet people where they are, and with the
Right.
level of care and concern that disarms them, and be willing to open up about you. So that's why I'm real about this, and I ain't saying that from a boasting standpoint, but it is my passion. It is my God-given purpose. I really believe that. So when you see me on social media, raising Cain, it's from a good space, right? And I
Right.
enjoy what I do, and I wouldn't change what I'm doing for any reason.
Right. I love that. And so when you're speaking of your story, your journey, you're relatable. And so many people will be attracted to you because, oh, wow, I didn't know he went through something like that. Like,
Yeah.
he'll understand what I'm going through. But you'll never get a chance to know what people have gone through if you don't open up and have a conversation, if you
Yeah.
don't share your voice, if you don't share your journey, if you don't take the stage, on the floor is yours, okay?
Come on now.
Basically,
That's
you're
it.
telling the world the floor is yours. Come tell your story, come share your story. Let other people know that you've gone through the same thing and you've come out on the other side. You're still living, you're still here to share. And so it gives that path, that blueprint for others to come through and say, you know what? If they did it, I can too.
Yeah,
Right?
Misha, one of my co-hosts, she says this all the time. Like, you just gotta move. Sometimes
Yeah.
you don't know what you're doing, or to what extent you're doing it, or even sometimes what season you're in. But just moving and making yourself available and just showing up sometimes. And some of the greatest opportunities opened up for me just because I was present and moving. So I would
Yeah.
just encourage people. Sometimes, like, it's easy to get down, and if you're trying to push a business or a platform, or whatever, and you're not getting the traction that you think you should, it's like, man, just keep moving. And that old saying, like, if it's one, we say that in the church, if there be just one, like, you
Yeah.
got to be okay with that, right? If you're doing it for the purpose of bettering people versus doing it for the cloud,
Hmm.
and doing so has allowed me to build a consistent organic following where it was just doing great work.
I love that. And so, here we are, Mr. Community Builder. Okay. Here we are in today's world, how crazy and chaotic it can be out here in these streets. Um, I want to talk about some pressing matters that we really need to be focusing on right now. As we're talking about the community, we're talking about empowering and embracing community, we're talking about educating community. Let's talk about what are some things that we should be focusing on and doing right now to help our communities, but also help ourselves.
Yeah. There's that thing about that. There is no one right answer.
Hmm.
The issues are plenty, but I would say this in the army, like when you're a military vet, when you go to that range and you're qualifying with your weapon,
Right?
we talk about what your 50-meter target is, and the relevance is that it's like what's most urgent and what's closest to you. And
Hmm.
that 50-meter target, for some people, is going to be food on the table,
Right.
right? Or some version of affordability. The other one might be voting. I hear people, and this is one of the most disheartening things I've heard to me, because people say that voting don't matter. And I'm
Mm,
like, if it didn't matter, like, why are they working so hard to take away your vote?
right. Right.
When they're passing legislation, they're depending on people who say that voting don't matter. So, and I say this all the time, there's a ministry for that. So whether it's food, insecurities, whether it's, politics, social issues, we're figuring out like where the need is
Mm,
greatest for that any one situation. So with that being said, I can't do it alone. So I'm always networking and trying to bring along capable people who have equal passion to see our community grow and do it with dignity and respect, right? That's the other
right.
thing. There's a lot of skilled people, but if you don't have a heart or the character that you're trustworthy and dependable, I'm probably not going to deal with you, because all you need is a reason to flip. And that could be
Yep.
so costly for us, right? So
It
it's people
can.
that I started this race with that I no longer do work with anymore for those reasons right there, right? But yeah, the need, the immediate need is plenty. Some people again is food, some is shelter, affordability, but voting is another big one that where we're focusing in on here in the short term.
And I love that because you all have had conversations on a wide range of topics to include food. And I remember when you had Miss Arlene, is it hold
Yeah,
on.
yes, I
Miss
mean,
Arlene on talking about,
yeah,
she's our agricultural specialist around here,
yeah,
talking about food and how to grow your own food. What does that look like? But you've also had shows where you've talked about voting, you've talked about disenfranchisement, you've talked about, how to relationships. Like there was a lot of conversations y'all were having about relationships.
yeah. Yeah, relationships is our wheelhouse. That's our bread and butter. You're right.
Right. And so you've had a wide range of topics, for your different shows. But I want to ask you a question. What is your favorite thing to talk about, Gerard? Like out of all the things, all the conversations, the hundreds of conversations that you've had over the years, like I don't want to ask you your favorite conversation, but your favorite topic.
Yeah, it's relationships, and it's not just intimate relationships. It's friendships,
Right?
partnerships, leadership. So you talk about those different ships. Leadership, entrepreneurship is how you relationship in its just as simple as term is just how two objects relate to each other.
Right.
And when you put that in the sense of community, is like how do we relate to each other in a way that helps us grow and progress, right? So it's relationships. We did the conversation summit in 2023. Real
Hmm.
hit. Thank you for your help with that too. But the motto, you remember we adopted the motto. It was relationship is the new currency.
Yes.
And it was the mindset was that like sometimes we're out here just chasing a dollar, chasing a dollar, chasing a dollar. And what I learned when I entered the workforce and tried to when I left the military, entered the workforce and wanted to work on getting promoted and earning more money, it was a relationship right between me and my manager, me and my coworkers, because we all are doing um, evaluations of each other, and they all contributing what they think of me and my work ethics and my dependability and my trustworthiness. Relationship is everything. So
Yes.
when you talk about what's my favorite topic, it's definitely that, and it is my most passionate topic and most necessary topic because we weren't put here to do this life alone.
Right.
We
Right.
need each other, right? And it's easy
Absolutely.
to get in our silos and woe is me and just like, well, I'm just gonna worry about me and what's in my immediate. No one, I don't give a dang what example you give me. No one is here doing it alone.
That's so true. And I'm so guilty for going into a silo, okay? It's not a woe is me party. It's a more
Yeah,
like I got my head down
yeah,
and I'm just focusing on getting this done, right?
yeah,
But I
yeah.
do know that there is a priority, there's a um a necessary, option. I don't even want to call it an option. It's just necessary to be in relationship with
Yeah,
those who are like-minded. And I also like to say life-minded, right? Because a lot of times we get into relationships with people who are not in alignment with how life works,
I like that.
or what it is, or and the direction that you're going in life. And so it's really vital to
Right.
have that good positive energy around you. I kind of like I used to always say like it's a positive vortex. That's what mogul is. Mogul is a positive vortex
Hmm.
of just like a tornado almost, if you will. It's like you get hung up in that. You have no option but to have some positivity all around your life, because that's what it's all about. So right now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take like a 2-minute break. I'm going to share a video, and this video is all about, again, using your voice. As Gerard said, the floor is yours. That's his platform, the Floor is Yours podcast. And this young lady, she definitely is stepping forward, making sure that every floor she steps on, they remember her name. So we'll be right back in like a minute and a half.
It is indeed my esteemed pleasure to present to some and introduce to others Simone Walden, also known as the student teacher. She is a motivational speaker and trainer, book coach, international Amazon best-selling author, and spoken word artist.
Simone Walden.
The heart of a teacher so you can close the gaps. And so if we're going to talk about closing the gaps, it became personal for me. And as an educator, it has to become personal for you. And so personal growth is not just about getting new information, but it's about unlearning those limited habits.
I just had an amazing time with Simone Walden.
She spoke to us about leadership and how it is so valuable to be a great leader and how you have to believe in yourself so that you can lead others.
And then the second part with A is you have to radically accept the students that's in front of you because they radically accept us as a teacher standing in front of them.
She just spoke to a group of students from the age of 14 through 17 and it was absolutely amazing.
I am Lakeisha Hill, the proud principal of our David Taylor Virtual Academy, and I had the distinct honor of having a most wonderful surprise today and meeting Miss Walden.
Book her, bring her out, teachers, educators who need her.
So it's very important who we have speaking into our, it's very important who we go for counsel. The Bible says there's safety in the multitude of counsel.
She's ready to do it, boom, 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 real quick. Just be ready, because she ready.
Simone Walden.
So listen, I love the fact that Simone is using her voice and she is traveling. She is moving. She's on the move. She ain't stopping, y'all. And I'm encouraging her to keep going because the world needs to hear exactly what it is that she has to say. And that brings us right into the floor is yours and how you have opened the door for so many people to take the stage, to share their voices, to share their stories and journeys with the world, with
Yeah.
everybody who has a willing and open ear to hear them, an open heart to receive them as well, right?
Right.
So I want to speak about some of those conversations. Some of those conversations, can you tell me, some of the most impactful conversations that you've had with maybe a past guest or two?
Yeah. Oh wow. There's so many. Where do I start? Some of the one of the more meaning ones was on home ownership. You know, home ownership is one of the I don't want to say quickest way, but more sure ways to start building generational wealth, right?
Hmm.
And having those conversations and explaining to people how easy it is to own a home. I shouldn't say easy, how achievable it is to be a homeowner. And I
Right,
just one of the more powerful, impactful conversations we had because sometimes, to me, that old saying, you don't even know what you don't know. That's what
right.
I discovered in those conversations. Some people just didn't know what
Just
it
don't.
took and realize how close they were to actually realizing something as monumental as being a homeowner. And when I tell you the impact is generational, now you're accumulating equity or building equity in their home. Now your kids have somewhere to go, when they go off to college or somewhere else, or just somewhere secure, right? Where you don't have to move every other 6 months or a year to a new location. So there's stability and all that.
Right.
So home ownership is, and it was more from a point of informational than it was pushing for home ownership, but just sharing that information with people. It was life changing for myself.
That was really good. You did a whole event. It wasn't just
Yeah,
a conversation.
you're right.
Okay.
You're right. Yeah, the
It was
event
a
was
whole event
Yeah, the
that you
event
put
was
on.
called The Power of Real Estate. And we talked
Yeah,
about just some of those things right there, how you can leverage real estate just to get further ahead in life, right? It
right,
doesn't take away any of your challenges or whatnot, but you think about it, right? The majority of us, we're not going to make six figures,
right,
so what do you do? They don't take away the cost of living increases. They don't take away the need for that your family have, but it's using real estate to leverage your financial stability, and it's real. It's
right. I
real.
love that. There was a lot of great information that was shared during that summit. And hopefully you all will do another one in 2027. Okay. Because rules have changed, a lot of things have changed. And I think there's a lot of people who are now willing to hear in a greater capacity than they may have been before, just because of how things are in the economy and how things are going.
Right.
So having someone to pull together experts and you have the conversation to teach about home ownership, how to, why, when, and where. Like those are the things that we need to keep pushing out. And I love that you all are having the real conversations.
Yeah.
So as we continue to move on, so first of all, let me just address everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. I am Tameka Chapman, the founder of Mogul TV Global Network, and we are here on Meet the Moguls. And tonight we are speaking to Gerard, who is the founder of the Floor is Yours podcast. And we're talking about what it is the Floor is Yours podcast is all about. What is it he is doing, what he has done, what he's getting ready to do, but also why did he create the Floor is Yours podcast? And we know Gerard for building community, building and networking, and bringing people together, and having real conversations, but not being scared to share exactly what needs to be said. And that's what we love and respect about you using your voice. Um, and with that, let's just go to this. We're just gonna dive all the way in right now for a brief minute, okay? So we want to talk about us Black people.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about us as Black people. As Black people, I want us to talk about the importance of one, sharing your story and the impact that sharing your story not only have on you, but on others as well as your community. Like, how can what like a defining moment of sharing your story, and what does that do? What can that do for you and your community?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked it. Because I get pushback to your point that you just made. I use my voice, and it's controversial, but it's with a purpose and it's for a meaning. And some of the things that people ask me, like, why are you talking? Why are you pushing back? Like, it don't even matter. Nothing is going to change. And this is what I know. Those who are in power that are looking to stop you from progressing and advancing and improving your life, they're expecting you to be quiet.
Right.
They don't want you to push back. So as they start to not just pass policies, like we know they're doing that, but it's getting blatant. You remember, there's one blessing that's in the White House right now. Did he put the Obama's faces on apes,
Right.
right? And one of the more troubling things, not that what he did surprised me, right? But it was the response
Hmm.
from so many people. We know the history of this nation, right? So to act as if what he did was in a vacuum and it didn't come with 400 years of slavery and civil war and post Reconstruction and Jim Crow and civil rights era, and even up to today with the MAGA movement, to act like that's not a thing, we're not being intellectually honest when we're having a discussion. So we know what it means to put black people faces on apes. It's just the old characters, right? Where they called us monkeys or apes, right? So when you do it, and I see other black people saying that we're taking things out of proportion, we're taking it too serious, or making excuses for him. He put other people on other faces. Yeah, but we know what it means to put black people faces on
Right.
monkeys. So
Right.
when that happens, they're already dehumanizing us.
Hmm.
So when you give them permission, and they can't do it by themselves, they are dependent on other black people to make excuses, to excuse their behavior or give them the okay to continue their hurt. So many people, Tameka, came to me and tried to hush me and tell me that I'm taking it too far, that I'm blowing things out of proportion. While all along that machine that we call white supremacy is doing what it's doing, and it's
Right.
pushing and it's dehumanizing us more and taking away our voting rights. They're making gas and other energy expensive. They're raising food prices, housing prices, or even housing affordability is a no go. So to lose your voice and to not say something is to give them the power to continue to hurt you.
Right. Right. And I love how you said earlier that the greatest way to use your voice is to vote. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
greatest way to use your voice is to vote. Vote for what's right. Vote for what's right for all, right? And not just going with what everybody else is doing. Know it for yourself. Get educated. Be empowered. Be energized about that thing. All right.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, because we've been going here for about a little almost 30 minutes or so, and I'm enjoying the conversation.
Likewise.
To join the conversation. And um, I want to talk more about the Floor is Yours podcast and what's coming up for the Floor is Yours podcast. What's coming up? What can we expect from the Floor is Yours podcast? And I believe that you all are actually going live tomorrow. Am I right?
Yes, we are. We are. We got a show tomorrow, and I'm paraphrasing the title, but we're talking about forgiveness and is what forgiveness is, but also what forgiveness is not. And here in Western culture, we think forgiveness is an automatic erasure of what somebody did to harm you, and it's
Mhm.
not. So we're gonna go. Me and my boy Gregory McKinney. We're gonna go. We're gonna delve deep into that and tell people like some of the things specifically to me is that forgiveness is not access. So you can forgive
Right.
somebody, but they lose access to you. Right?
Right.
You can. What's the other one? Reconciliation is not restoration. So just say in the instance that, and I give this example, if you and I are business partners and I do something, say take some money from a register, you can, forgive me. You can say, Gerard, we're going to continue to be business partners, but you ain't touching that money. You know, I like the other things you got going on, but you got to
Right,
win that right back. And let's be honest, you would be a fool to act like
right,
what I did. It happened. So
right.
forgiveness is it can be reconciliation, but it's not restoration. And
Absolutely.
also, making sure people know that accountability is not revenge. So some people
Mhm.
feel guilty when someone has to pay a penalty for what they did to harm you. That's justice. So if
Right.
someone pays accountability, the Bible talks about that. Like that's love. Like when it said the Bible says that God chastises those he loves. So
Hmm.
accountability is not revenge, and people need to understand that. And the other one is being true to yourself and your offender. When they show you who they are, believe
Yes,
it. Believe
yes.
it. Don't go off of what you wish they were or when you saw them at their best or what you're hoping it could be. When a
Hmm.
person show you who they are, believe in, and those just four of the principles that makes it possible to understand better what forgiveness is, right?
I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah,
I love that. And forgiveness is a real thing. It's a real thing. It's a life and death kind of thing, right?
yeah, it
Um,
is.
and I'm excited that you all are having the conversation tomorrow. So make sure you all tune in. The Floor is Yours podcast with Gerard Ware and Gregory McKinney as they talk about forgiveness tomorrow. And not just tomorrow. Follow them. Follow the page.
Yeah,
And that's on Facebook at TFIYP. I'm going to put it here so that everybody can see it here. Let me get it
yeah,
on here for us.
yeah. And while you bringing that up too, Tamika, just one other topic that we're going to be doing next week. So put this one on your calendar. It's Thursday next week, and I believe that is the
13th.
13th. We got a wonderful young lady. Her name is Carolyn. I'm gonna mess her name up. I'm gonna try not to. Maldonado, Carolyn Maldonado. So she lives out here close to me, but coming up on the 10th year remembrance of her son passing. He drowned in the lake out here, but
Mm.
she took his tragedy and turned it into purpose. And she's invented this device that helps people, not drown. And I met with her today. She explained a lot of the things I didn't even know why, that old mindset that black folks can't swim. Like
Hmm.
there's some science and some biology to that, and she explained. But she's going to be on next week talking about how she dealt with grief. And I
Yeah,
think that's an important part of when we have lost. Every parent expect that their child will bury them, not to have to bury their child, and
right.
to live through that. She's coming up on year 10, and she's going to be prepared to answer questions, to tell her story, and just to share on how she was able to deal with grief. And back to that thing about community, um, you don't know sometimes how to, but just to give some pointers. Here's some pointers for someone that's been through it. I think it's going to be a powerful story. So that's 7:30 next week on the Floor is Yours podcast, um, August the 13th.
I love the conversations that you have because they're impactful. It's not just a conversation just to be having a conversation. It's for a reason. It's for real. It's
Yeah,
real life,
yeah,
right?
for sure.
And the fact that you have men and women who are transparently sharing their journeys and the things that they've gone through to help others, right? To um, empower and educate others on what not to do or things to do or not to do, right?
Yeah,
And I know grief is hard. Grief is hard, and a lot of times, I'm not even saying a lot of times. Nobody grieves the same.
right.
Grief is everybody different at different times. I found myself every year, at least 2 times a year, dealing with a certain grief that I don't feel like I've really gotten over. But it's not that I haven't gotten over it. It's more of how do I manage my emotions around that time of the year, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So everybody grieves differently,
Yeah,
and whatever what it looks like for you or for myself may not be the same for others. But I'm glad that you have someone like Miss Carolyn coming on to sharing her story and sharing her journey, especially on the 10-year anniversary of the passing of her son.
yeah.
So make sure you all go and follow the Floor is Yours podcast on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and as well on Mogul TV Global Network.
Especially that. Especially that.
So I'm excited. Listen, we are in year 5 of Mogul TV. We are in year 5. You know, November of this year will be year 5 of Mogul TV, pushing positive content, positive programming, amazing show hosts, impactful conversations globally. We've reached over 60 countries now. We're pushing, like, we're doing some amazing things. And now we have what I think it's about 26 streaming partners that we have finally partnered with, pushing the word even greater, even further. And I'm so excited to be in partnership with Gerard, to be in partnership with all of the amazing show hosts who are on the network as we continue to try to not even balance, because I don't want to balance the evil. I want to overtake the evil with positive
Oh,
words, with positive messages, and how it is that we're doing. We're always going to be the little engine that did, not could, but we did it, and we're continuing to do. So thank you all for tuning in to Meet the Moguls. As I spoke to Gerard, I want to say one thing to you, and I want you to give us a last word. Because right now, sir, the floor is yours.
okay, okay. I appreciate that the play on that, but yeah, I would just say this. It's that old saying that from Martin Luther King. He said that evil flourishes because good people do nothing.
Mm.
Evil flourishes because good people do nothing. And I love that saying. And when I've come to learn about it, it takes away the middle ground. Like these people that just want to sit back and be indifferent about what's
Mhm.
going on in current times. Like it's time out for that. And that old saying, either you with me or forget me, or you're against me. You with me or against me. That's really indicative of that saying right there. So evil flourishes because good people do nothing or good people say nothing. When you see something, you see evil, speak out on it. And, what we got going on, Tameka, here in these days and times. Um, that it's just that it's too many people that's sitting back and not doing a thing, not saying a thing about it, and just
Right.
allowing for this evil to flourish. So just encourages people to do more, speak up, protect each other, cover each other. And it says love covers a multitude of sin too. So that's the other thing. Like when you see people's humanity, you start to treat them differently and protect them and cover them. So just learn to love each other.
Right. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And one last question. How can people, if somebody who wants to share their voice, share their story and their journey, how can they get in contact with you to be a guest?
Yeah, yeah. So reach out to on the internet social media platforms. Gerod Ware. I'm on Facebook. The Floor is Yours podcast. Like you got scrolling across the bottom. Find us on Facebook. We're on IG as well. We're on YouTube. But you can even reach me on my email. It's Gerard. That's Gerod. Ware Ware at gmail.com. And we'd love to have you. Me and my people, Tameka, we're opinionated, but we got opinions not just for the sake of having them. We're trying to do what the Bible says, come let us reason together. So
Right.
we love to have the actual subject matter experts come on and just help us build community and strengthen community. And the platform is a safe space. I ain't gonna say that you ain't gonna be judged because you come with some foolishness. We're gonna tell you about yourself in a polite way, right? But that's as it should be. Tamika, I remember the day when where people had to prove themselves worthy to have the stage and talk in front of
Hmm. Right.
this social media. Let anybody that can do these
Anybody.
things come out and say anything. No credibility, no tact, no couth, just raggedy, right? So, we just want to have a different disposition over here. So,
Right.
come on, but know what you're talking about a little bit, and
Just a
everybody
little
gonna
bit.
live happily ever after. But yeah, those are my parting words again. Evil flourishes because good people say nothing.
I love it. Thank you so much, Gerard, for coming on with me and having a conversation all about community, all about building, all about, the floor is yours podcast, why you created it, and who you created it for. So, again, thank you so much. Make sure you all go and follow. at TFIYP. That stands for The Floor Is Yours Podcast. Connect with Gerod today. Follow, connect, and engage. And make sure you all tune in tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow night. Is it 7:30 tomorrow night?
7:30 Eastern time. I mean Central time. 7:30 Central time. 7:30 Central. 8:30 Eastern. And shout out to Misha and Greg.
Yes. They'll be coming on here soon too. They don't know it yet. They gonna have this seat right there too.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gregory. My bad. You gonna give me beat up.
Don't mess that up. Hey, Mr. McKinney, how about that? Hey, I see. So listen, thank you all for tuning in tonight. I appreciate you for being here. And if you catch the replay, make sure you go and follow at TFIYP, The Floor Is Yours Podcast with Gerod Ware. Y'all have a good night.
Peace.
Across the globe we're shining bright, telling stories that feel so right. From every culture, every place, we're building love, we're sharing grace. Oh, we see the beauty in every soul. Together we're stronger, making us whole. Legacy lives in all that we do. Mogul TV, it starts with you. Mogul TV, we're changing the game. One voice, one heart, one name. Streaming hope, shining through. A better world for me and you. Mogul TV, where we belong. Our stories live, our hearts stay strong. Mogul TV, we're changing the game. One voice, one heart, one name. 52 countries, love on display. Breaking boundaries every day.